fear tactic, don't you think? Like in January, you'll know if we're holding your contract to see if there's anything.
But like, what can they do about it now?
I know.
You see what I'm saying? It's November. So
I feel like that's too soon to tell somebody they don't have a contract, because I don't know if I would just be the best employee.
You wouldn't.
I mean,
you wouldn't.
January?
Unless they're going to put in a stipulation where they can hustle hard.
That's what it was.
Till the end.
It was like, they'll let you know they will hold your contract because contracts come out in February.
Right.
So you will not be getting one in February, but we're going to look at you for the next 8 weeks, and then maybe you'll get a contract.
Right. Fear.
And
nobody works well under those circumstances.
No,
I just don't know how we feel like we're going to be able to get the best results out of teachers and students in a society of fear.
I have a question. Have you ever been afraid of any students?
Mm-mm.
This is just like a thought.
I haven't, and I'll say it's funny because I just had this conversation with my husband.
Mm-hmm.
I said, for the things that I plan on doing in my future,
mm-hmm.
I said, I think the Lord definitely put me in this final position. Look at me just now.
Oh, yes.
Claiming
Speak
it.
that. Yes.
Goodness. I just said that, Lord.
Uh-huh.
Okay. In this final position, because in one of my schools, I dealt with they said it was one of the biggest gang members
mm-hmm.
that they've ever had
mm-hmm.
in the history of the school,
right.
who actually did commit murder,
mm-hmm.
like in the same year that I was in the school with them. But I was not afraid of him.
Right.
Actually, he was most respectful towards me.
Yeah, we had he was like Sir 13. He was over all, like this boy.
Mm-hmm.
And he kept the kids in line. He was not about disrespect to the teachers.
No.
I love his siblings still go to my school. I love them. And he comes back and I'm just like, hey. Never scared. No teacher was scared of him.
Yeah.
So
even the little boy that tore my office up a couple of weeks ago.
That was no fear though, right?
Not scared. I mean, he's a 3rd grader. Now, he did get some scissors, Lord. Like, he was about to throw them at me, Jesus. But I said, you better not. Right. I went real mama. I went Southern mama on him.
The fear, though, right?
Kids, absolutely. Please, is this thing on?
Don't tap it. Please don't.
I'm sorry. But seriously, I need everybody to listen.
Yes.
Children have a sixth sense about whether or not you're afraid of them. Mm-hmm. And I'm at an elementary school, and these little boys, they're 3rd graders, they play the heck out of it too. Mm. They know which teachers are afraid of them, and they act even crazier just to get them off them.
Mm-hmm. And they also can sense uncertainty. Like if they think you don't know what you're doing,
it's on.
It's over.
It's over.
Now there are some students. I'm just gonna ask myself that question about being scared of students, because I don't think you had a chance to ask me.
I thought you were relating and saying that you weren't when you talked about the big.
Gangs. I never am worried about the gangsters because we've had plenty of those. But I have had fear just about the look in a student's eye, like that they're very, very crazy. I have never felt like they would harm me, but it was a student where I'm like, I wouldn't turn my back on that kid. So
gotcha.
That, I don't know if it's a fear. Maybe they felt my fear. Maybe they never acted on it, but I felt like I've encountered about 2 in my 13, 14 years that I was like,
cautious about.
I may not go at him front way. I may have to talk to him a little bit different, because I'm not going to go directly at this person and be like, you better listen to what I like. That's what.
But here's the problem.
That's a different one.
Exactly. But there are even ones without that look in their eyes. And you're right. I know what you mean. You can sense a little bit of evil on them. I have had a student or two like that too.
We call them crazy eyes.
Yeah, because you can see it's something their eyes ain't right.
Like,
I know what you're talking about.
And then you just kind of, you deal with them because they're your students and you love on them as much as you can.
Mm-hmm.
But it's something different and you have to deal with them a little differently.
Absolutely. That's true. So here's the thing. You do have to know your clientele.
Mm-hmm.
And there are certain kids that you can't talk to with that aggression. Mm-hmm. And you might feel like you're showing that you're strong, but
you're showing you're weak.
Exactly. If you're trying so hard to posture yourself in a way that is showing that you got it all under control, those kids are going to be the very ones to show you exactly how little control you have.
If they read you.
Oh my gosh.
They can smell it.
It's so... And this is not to make you afraid. Like, clearly, we're not trying to promote fear, but we're trying to to tell you that there are certain ways that you have to deal with certain kids, and you really do have to choose your battles.
Yeah.
You know, from an administrative standpoint, Lord, please choose your battles. And you might be totally ticked off at a kid. I mean, and you might be trying to show that you big and bad by going off after the administrator comes to relieve you from that situation. But let's not do all that in front of the kids, okay? Because I have seen where you are provoking children.
Right. And then you remember we talked about good cop, bad cop, and it forces you to have to play the other role when you may have wanted to discipline them. Yes. The teacher acted crazy.
I just get I'm so uncomfortable when a teacher is acting crazy when I come up to help and we can't both do it.
Right.
Like, you've already chosen your position. If you want me to be bad cop, I need you to fall back and be sweet.
Take it.
Be sweet.
So I have a question about, I don't know if you deal with it now, but the amount, are teachers shamed for writing up kids more? Like, is it looked on as like a fear thing to do a whole bunch of write-ups? Or
I think teachers feel that way. What we have done at the last 2 schools that I've been in is trying to help our teachers, again, 2 different clusters, 2 different grade levels. But at the same time, we've been trying to teach our teachers what is a classroom management issue versus what's truly a reason to call an administrator. Right. Now, we have a protocol and process together. If you have followed the protocol and they've already gotten to that level, like I've told these teachers that have been explaining a lot this week, I'm like, listen, you've already followed the steps. You have your records kept. I can do you don't have to say anything else.
It's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think a lot of that pressure comes on themselves.
I think so. I don't remember when I first started where I got the idea that I don't need to be writing it. I think it was just the fact that the discipline wasn't being addressed anyway. And so it's easier for me to do it than write them up. Because that was like, by the time they got written up, it's like 3 months later or whatever.
Yeah, you told me that turnaround is crazy.
Yeah, it's like, what's the point? I still have to see you every single day. It's not like, so.
And that's what I've been trying to emphasize to my teachers. I'm like I just had this conversation this week. She was just pleading this case about why this boy needs to be taken out of her class. And I said, listen, you don't have to do all that explaining. Right. I said, but this is what I need us to talk about. He's coming back.
At some point. Yeah.
In 2 days.
What are you going to do?
He's coming back.
Right.
So let's go ahead and figure it out. And that, again, is that's strength. If you have a plan already in place,
right,
you shouldn't be fearful when they're coming back or dreading it when they're coming back. Just get your mind together. Let's work through some strategies and figure out what you're going to do when they're coming back.
We don't get those breaks. I don't know what level gets those kind of breaks. But like
high school, when I worked at the high school as an administrator, kids went to in-school for days at a time.
Yeah, and there's people that
is that what you mean by breaks?
I guess when you write a kid up, eventually they'll get into ISS or go to even further, right? To OSS. But if it's full, then they wait. You know what I mean? So there's no immediate. So I'm fine with that. Whatever. That's kind of how the life I live. But the question was, I was asking another teacher, if like, what is the discipline numbers? Do teachers get like we went to the principal and asked him, like, is there something that you can pull about, like, how many discipline referrals are being written per teacher? And so he pulled it up right in front of us. And so, you know, we had our numbers. And I wasn't really interested in my own, but I was just like, is that something that you pay attention to when you're, you know, looking for professional development or, you know, other things, teachers that are always writing people up or not? And he was like, well, Ned, you have 3, which is high. Like, I hardly ever, it's rare I'll write you up just because I'm like, we'll deal with it. We'll just work it out. Like, I'm not going to waste my paper or my time looking up your mama's number when I can just call her and then I'll talk to you about it if I need to.
Right.
But the teacher I was with had maybe around the same 1 or 2 for the year. And so I was just thinking in my mind, like, what does that look like to have to write up someone all the time and you're not getting any consequences for doing that? Maybe the kid did something really light and then you're still writing them up. Like, what is the culture behind write-ups if they're not being addressed, or if the whole you're writing up too many people is not being addressed too?
For level, because I mean, that's what was happening. Teachers were calling. I was at a training this week and they said, 10 or more write-ups
per teacher.
Yeah, that's a teacher problem. You know, like, so the data really should be used in that way in trying to help teachers with classroom management.
And what he said, you may appreciate this, is he said that the top were the administrators. So probably for tardies or probably for, you know, administrative stuff that wasn't related to what was going on with the teacher at all. So bus issues or whatever. So he was like, the administrators probably should be on the top of the list because they're the ones that are handling more discipline than the teachers.
Should be.
So he was like, that's more what they look at, not individually what teacher is doing the most with the write-ups.
Yeah, I think that's a myth. I do remember people talking about that when I was in the classroom because there were some chronic referral writers.
And you know who they are. And you're kind of like, girl, just do it. Like,
exactly. Send them to me. You know.
And we have the timeout system where they get a break. Just go next door and that's it.
Oh, y'all do that at high school? See, we didn't do that in high school
because we knew they would not get elementary. We wouldn't get a break, so it was like, go next door, finish for the day. Like, it's fine. See you tomorrow.
So I think our point is there are ways to work through these issues, and it doesn't have to be fear driven.
Right? No, I mean, I feel like we've kind of given a couple of solutions to all of that. I mean, I don't know how we can address the TEKS issue, because if you have an administrator that's constantly talking about TEKS and you're scared of being fired in January, then maybe that is something to be scared of. Like, I would be scared, and I'm tenured, but
this is going to sound so bad for me being an administrator, but most administrators really aren't keeping the paperwork on the level to fire somebody. That is a lot of doggone work. I had to do it last year. That is a lot of work, a lot of meeting, a lot of support.
But now it's saying that if you're not tenured, you don't got to do none of that stuff, right? You can just say you're not going to get a contract. Peace.
Well, this person had only been teaching, had not even been teaching a year, and I still had to go through all that.
Yeah. And then he did say it was a county thing. So I don't know. I got questions.
You do, girl.
But then that makes the meetings go long. So, you know, we never want that to happen.
ever. Even the administrator don't want that jump to happen.
Nope. I have no questions for you.
I'm like, if you don't put your hand... I'm just kidding. I love inquiring.
I know. We used to have someone who would, like, in faculty meetings, there was a book that was kept. And so, like, whenever a teacher would ask a question, and I may tag her in this, she's not a teacher anymore. She's an academic coach. But she, like, literally would write down their name. And at the end of the year, like, she would read from the book. She would be like, on meeting, September, blah, 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 so-and-so asked this question.
Y'all so dirty.
Cut up so bad. So when she finally left the class, we would be like, where is she with this book? Like, everyone knew.
Y'all are so dirty. It's like the slam book of the old days. Oh my gosh. And so was it like a funny, like...
It was like an awards at the end of the year.
Yeah, that's
like,
cute.
But it was low key, like real petty because you did not want to be on the list. Like the next year, you'd be like, "Oh my god, is she writing my name down for asking this?" Or they would be like, "We'd be like, check with your department chair."
Everybody concerned.
They fear. No, she would be like, "Department chairs need to check with their